Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street, frozen Main Street, and the small business lenders who help it grow. Katie, I understand Arkansas is off the grid.
Yeah, apparently, I don't know if Lance is snowed in or if he's just out part of that power outage, but he's not going to be joining us today.
He may be taking the grandkids sledding again. Maybe that's what he's doing. Yeah, I see our numbers are down a little bit also. Everyone stay safe out there and stay heated. I do have to do this. It's only going to be 72 here today in Southern California. So just I do have to get that in. Hey, we do have some news. Thank you very much for joining us. We respect your time, so let's get to it. Number one, what small business modifications have your borrowers implemented? And you can check more than one. So let's go ahead and define this, Katie. What's a ghost kitchen?
Yeah, so a ghost kitchen is going to be this kind of somewhat new idea that restaurants are going to be either sharing kitchens or they'll use a hotel kitchen or something like that to operate. They don't have any seating area. So in that case, all of their revenue is going to be coming from to-go orders or delivery of some sort.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued by the sharing kitchen concept. I've seen that pop up a couple times where a couple of entrepreneurs get together and they pool their resources to build a kitchen, but they keep their own menus. That's interesting. When we talk about changing manufacturing, we're talking about what? I guess taking toy manufacturers and we're going to make syringes. Is that what we're talking about here, Katie?
Yeah, so a lot of places that used to produce other products, like a very popular one that you might have noticed is hand sanitizer is now being developed in breweries and places like that because they have the equipment to produce it. So sometimes that's why you're going to notice the hand sanitizer smells awful. And we always joke, like, oh, it's brewery hand sanitizer. But yeah, a lot of places are adjusting it because they have the equipment to do it. They can produce healthcare products of some sort or personal protective equipment.
And I like the third option. That's interesting. 80% of our people say their borrowers are doing this. I mean, you have to compete with Amazon. And one of the things when we do our training, we haven't so much on this program, but we say when you come up with a concept, make sure it's Amazon proof. Make sure that you're offering a higher level of service that Amazon can or the same type of delivery. I know there's specialty retailers such as Equestrian and Boots and one-offs that need the touch. But Katie, I'm sure you see this as well up in Seattle. What we were going through at Macy's and Nordstrom's, drive in, you order, and you pick it up there at the curb.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, actually, our Target is doing a ton of this. I think they've converted about half of their parking now to drive-through, and basically you pull up, there's a number ahead of the car, so I'm sure they're assigned a spot or something. I haven't used it, but I know they are doing a lot of that, and we're seeing a lot of people use it.
Well, I think that's exactly what this PPP financing is for, Katie, that, hey, infrastructure costs money to build out. The restaurants need to build outdoor facilities. They need heaters. I went out the other night. Thankfully, there was a heater even in Southern California, so that's important. Hey, everyone knows I love stats. What industry has the most loans in 2021? So I guess we're talking about PPP. I don't know what the time frame on that. Joseph, what is the time? What you're thinking in time frame on this, Joseph? Since October 1 or what?
Well, this will be
2021. This is the new ones.
Yeah, this is the 2021 stats that the SBA released last weekend. They're releasing stats about every Sunday or so, I think. And they did break it out this time into different industries. So we've got a little better idea, but these are going to be both first and second draw, but only this second round, this round that's currently going on.
And Katie, we have completely stumped everyone. Believe it or not, it's agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting. Again, this is by number of loans.
Yeah.
So why is that sector so high?
Honestly, it's probably just that is a huge sector in the United States. A lot of people are in that industry. I mean, if you go to the Midwest, there are some places where that's just about their only major export import ish. So I really do think that's probably the major reason for it.
Go back to those numbers real quick on poll number 2. I want to see what. All right, I'll give you a hint. For those of you who answered 76%, you may get lucky in the next question. How's that? One entry has the most dollars. Well, I've already given that away. So there we go. And obviously a combination of
boosts. Guess the actual dollar amount. They wouldn't get that then.
Yeah, which is what, well, how much, well, what I have it here, what is it, $22 billion just so far this fiscal year?
Just over $22 billion.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that is obviously a critical need of construction. Again, can you, oh, that's a terrible chart. Can you go back to the results, Joseph? Construction, we notice is up there. Healthcare, obviously. I mean, they're not answering this, but these are all areas that I think we picked these because they were the top 5. So these are all important things. Hey, SBA issued a notice last night, this morning, 11-12 payments, a lot of confusion. And I'm not even going to start to go into that chart because I can't read it. And if I can't read it, it's there for your perusal. What we did on that is we broke it out completely in terms of stats. You can download that and look at those later. What's going on with 11-12 payments? This is critical.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the SBA has determined that the $3.5 million in funds for those what used to be 6 months of payments for Section 1112 payments is not enough. So they're going to be adjusting the amount of time that people will be getting those payments. So if they were before eligible to get those 6 months of payments, that's going to be on newer loans that were approved before September 27th that didn't get the payments before. Instead, they're going to be getting 3 months of payments for loans approved. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was going to say that's going to be a shock for the companies that were funded loans in October with a November, December, January. Oh, you owe me for February 1. What are we doing in that situation?
Yeah, that's going to be, I believe they have a workaround in the notice. I don't have the information at hand, but I believe the notice isn't attached in the handouts. So if that has happened, they have how you're supposed to handle that listed in there. The other thing,
go ahead, Katie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
so they've broken it down too. So if you've got a loan between March 27th or before March 27th, that's going to get 2 months of payments instead of 3. The NAICS codes that were supposed to get an extra 5 months are only going to get an extra 3 months now. And loans approved after February 1st will receive 3 months. And unfortunately, no second round of payments will be coming for loans approved between March 27th, 2020 and September 27th, 2020.
Or September. Are we talking about 2021 on that?
This is directly from their notice. So it's just second. That would be second round for them, and they're not going to get the second round.
Okay. Yeah, those dates don't make sense to me. We'll look at the notice and we'll clarify that. And I know we had been told that some of these notices that there were typos that SB was going to be correcting on that. Real quick, do you have the NAICS codes at the top of your head? We know what 72 is, and we know it's hospitality and restaurants. Is there a consistent theme in the rest of these codes and what type of business they are?
I don't know them off the top of my head. I know the major ones obviously are restaurants and hospitality. I don't know what the others are.
Okay, we'll break. This is what we're going to do for tomorrow. We'll break those out. We'll also verify these dates. Some of these dates look a little iffy, and I know that SBA was having a correction as well. Anyway, so the bottom line is the payments are being reduced. We will talk about what that workaround is. I apologize again. We just got this. This just hit this morning, so we will clarify that. And the notice is attached if you would like to download that. Federal Register notice, SBA, anything new on this risk rating? I read it. It's pretty long. It doesn't, basically what they're saying is they're always trying to refine it and tweak it. And the risk rating is based on future losses, not historical losses. Nothing really jumped out at me. Katie, anything jump out to you?
Nothing too important. Just next year is going to be, they're going to be due for another adjustment, and that's why they're preparing for this and why they sent out the notice. They've broke it out into 3 sections that they're going to be working on. They're going to be updating their formula a little bit. Nothing too major, but they didn't give the exact formula yet, so we don't know how it's going to be changed. They're making some revisions to segmentation, so that's going to be whether it's a 7A or who's handling it, things like that.
Yeah.
And they're also updating the portal regularly.
And they're not necessarily going to tell us what's inside that black box. What the notice says is they are allowed to tweak it. That's what I get out of it. It's nothing that is earth-shattering. You do have the right to use your own risk rating system. You don't have to, and you have to jump through some hoops on that. I do not know of any lenders who do that. Maybe some of the larger Wall Street lenders do. But for everyone else, SBA's risk rating is out there. Obviously, this impacts directly your Paris score. And now that SBA is working with the regulators, I'm sure the regulators now are taking a look at this to determine loan loss reserves. Let's go to some questions. Number 1, Robert says, this is since the portal does not match the new forms, are banks holding off submitting new forgiveness applications? Katie's nodding, and I've heard that as well.
Yeah, we've heard that from several lenders that have been on the show that have said that unfortunately they're still working on updating the portal. And that should be happening soon. I keep hearing soon. So hopefully that's in the next week or 2. But yes, some are holding off on that until that's updated, because you do want the new rules to apply, and that new form is a really great form to use for borrowers that can use it.
Yeah, and we want to reduce the paperwork burden as much as possible, both at the lender side of it, but also the borrower side. I was talking to a borrower today. They just threw their hands up on the second draw. They just felt it was too complex and too overwhelming for them. And this is a smart person, so they just didn't have the time and the energy to figure everything out. Interesting question from Thomas is regarding minimum maturities. I believe you are, but the question is, why would you want to do that? What I would encourage you to do is write the loan for the maximum maturities that you can, and the borrower can always do additional payments, and that will, instead of having a 5-year maturity, that way you have the ability, if the borrower gets into a problem, they go back to the original loan. Also, if you do something on a 5-year maturity, you're going to get killed in the secondary market, because that's a one-off, and they don't have pools for that. So the answer is, I believe, is yes, but the question is, why would you want to do that? That's my response. Kevin says, I have an applicant that purchased the restaurant in June 2020. Kevin, you're not alone. We get a lot of these questions. The name was changed and the ENI were changed. The original restaurant got a first-round PPP loan. Would the new loan request be considered a first draw or second draw for the new applicant? Been 2 weeks and haven't heard back from the platform inbox. My initial reaction, Kevin, is this is complete. If you've changed the name and you've changed it's a new business, and I know we have some business acquisition rules. Definitely not going to get a first, and I think a second is problematic. Katie, what can you shed some light on this?
Yeah, because looking at that June 2020, that's after that February date, so it's definitely not going to be a first draw. Possibly could do a second draw, maybe, but having changed the name and the EIN, it's kind of unlikely in this situation. Of course, he's doing what you're supposed to. Ask SBA. They might have a workaround, but based on the name change and the EIN change, I'm guessing they're probably going to say, no, you can't get it.
Yeah, and Kevin, and when we heard the other day that SBA is just wiping out hold code applicants without letting the lender know. So you may want to go back and double check, make sure it hasn't been wiped off the books. But this is sort of another way of them saying no, if they're not responding right away. They're saying no. Hey, Katie, I've given you this assignment. In that time of year, we're going to do compensation reports. And basically what we do, I know you were sort of the tail end of it last year, is we ask you to self-report. We have 6 or 7 reports. We do BDOs, loan closers, servicers, underwriters, department managers. We do all of those. Our promise to you is if you're a loan closer, you fill it out, we'll send you that report for free for all the loan closers. Once we get that information, I throw it all at Katie. And we get rid of the highs and lows. We also have a select group of lenders we'll forward the information to and have them sign off and say, yeah, this looks good. So we're going to start collecting that data through SurveyMonkey. When's that going to go out, Katie? We're going to do this week or next Monday?
We could maybe start this week. I'll have to see how busy we get. I'll definitely let the audience know as soon as we get that launched.
Yeah, and we're very interested. What I'm curious about is what lenders are doing for compensation. If 7A is down, that's always interesting to me, is what's happening with the comp. I'd like to know if the compensation is down, if the lenders are adjusting it. And we'll be talking about this more. Prudent lenders, what they do is they change their matrix and how they pay their business development officers to attract the type of transactions they want. And we've talked to a number of lenders saying, hey, we're not doing hotel, we're not doing construction, and that obviously impacts what the BDO is doing. So we'll track that all out with doing that. Finally, we do have our new newsletter, our top 10, which is receiving some nice reviews. Thank you very much. Yeah, Joseph's going back and forth on our products. We're busy. We're busy.
Probably going off script. That's probably why.
Well, yeah, I tend to do that a lot. I think it's, so obviously and the purpose of this newsletter is to put it down so you can, with all this information that's coming out, you can easily give it to your C-suite, give it to your board. That's where this originated. And they can take 5 minutes so they can be up to date on what's going on in SBA, and more importantly, what they need to know for oversight. So that's the purpose of that. We're not going to tell you how to enter stuff into the portal, and we don't get into the technical stuff, but that's the big picture thing. Katie, good job. It was the Katie and Bob show today, so thank you all for supporting us. Nice numbers. Joseph, do you have one quick question you want to throw at us, or I'm getting a no, we don't want to do it. Thank you all for joining us. And we will get into this 11-12 tomorrow, and we'll correct whatever errors. I think there's errors in that notice.
I pulled up the procedural notice, and that is what it says right now. So it could be an error on their end.
Yeah, some of those numbers don't make sense to me. Anyway, thank you for joining us today for Coleman Report Live. Stay warm, stay healthy. And thank you for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.